My name is Olga. My surname is Cherednichenko. I come from Ukraine. I've been teaching English for probably 16 or 17 years. In the beginning of my career, I started as a teacher of English at the nursery school and at school. Then I started teaching at university. At the same time, I was working as a private tutor online. And actually, this is my job now. So I teach English to adults online, general English, business English, English for IT, because IT jobs are popular in Ukraine and they require good English. And I prepare for the international exam, which is called IELTS. And I have my little school where I work 5 teachers, and they also give private lessons to some students online. Yeah, I have a daughter. She's 3 years old.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much for the introduction. Yes, undoubtedly, English is playing a pivotal and key role in every person's life. In order to get job or in order to fancy your chances in interviews or to get a higher education, English absolutely is crucial in even in Indian context also. So one of my student is waiting to interact with you. Nandakishore, over to you.
A ninth grader from Jetpage Selvaram. Here is my question. How can students effectively pa- practice speaking English outside the classroom?
Okay, thanks for your question. Well, it depends on the conditions of your life. Yeah, because for example, in Ukraine, there are some speaking clubs, and children outside school can visit them and practice English there. So also it is possible to organize some speaking clubs on the basis of some schools. Of course, it can be a good idea finding an English-speaking friend, maybe on Facebook or some other social media that you are using. But I don't know, your children are quite young. I don't know if they're using Facebook, but still it is possible. So my main recommendation is to create this English-speaking environment. It can be even your friend from India, but you can agree that, for example, you will speak English on Sundays, and this will also be a practice.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hi.
How are you, ma'am?
I'm fine, thanks, and you?
I'm also fine, ma'am. My name is Mamata, an 8th grader from ZPH School, Ailavaram. I would like to ask you a question, ma'am. Can I ask?
Yeah, of course.
Here, my question is, what can we expand our vocabulary? What is more important in English? Knowing about grammar or practicing English with friends?
Okay. So about vocabulary. I think the best idea to take new vocabulary is from some listening or reading that you do on the daily basis. For example, you may like some cartoons in English, or maybe some YouTube channels in English, or you can read some short stories or fairy tales in English, and there will be some new vocabulary that you can learn. Also, to my students, I recommend using different mobile apps for learning vocabulary, such as Quizlet. I don't know if you have it in India, but or some other apps that have the same function. And as for, I think it is, of course, more important to communicate English with friends rather than learning grammar, because even if you make mistakes, people can still understand you. Yeah, and we learn English for the purpose of communication. So our main goal is to say what we want and to be understood, even if we make some grammar mistakes. But of course, if you want to speak English really well, it also needs to be accurate.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
And yes, here is one question regarding the war. You have just told that your husband had gone to war situation, I mean border, to defend the country. Is he professionally a soldier or a civilian?
No, he was a civil. He is an IT specialist, and he's not connected to the war. Just in the time of his university, he, which was a long time ago, he studied some engineering and something related to weapon. So only this, but based on this qualification, like he is now an officer, and he is responsible for anti-air protection, anti-air protection. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi.
Vivit, ma'am,
Can hear.
my name is Gayatri Salve. I am studying 7th grade. Can I ask one question, ma'am?
Of course, yes.
How does understanding grammar influence overall language proficiency?
Okay. So, yeah, of course, it's important to understand grammar. That is why when I'm teaching my students grammar, we focus not only on some rules and how to use them, but also on pronunciation. Because, for example, many people in Ukraine pronounce ed endings not correctly if we speak about past tenses. That is why, for example, they say stopped and so on instead of stopped. That is why it is very important to teach them the right pronunciation of grammar. In addition, it is very important to teach them how to understand grammar, because in past speech, all these constructions change. Yes, and instead of, I don't know, I have done, they hear I've done, and they may not understand it. So it's an important aspect of learning grammar should be the pronunciation of grammar, like understanding it and being able to say it correctly.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
Dobry Ronak.
Dobry ranak. That's very nice.
My name is Mehnaz. I'm an 8th grader from JPH Dalavaram. It's my honor to ask this question. Can I ask, ma'am?
Of course, yes.
Can you share some tips on enhancing listening skills in English?
Yes, of course. So this is something where practice makes perfect. And I could recommend you listening to some podcasts. You can choose something for your level. These could be some podcasts, again, some cartoons, some films, whatever you find interesting, and you can practice listening in such way. By the way, I can send you some links after this meeting, and maybe your students may find it interesting and useful. So, yeah, just that is interesting for you, so that it is not just learning, but it's fun for you and to practice.
How innovatively do you teach English?
How I teach English?
Yeah, that means in an innovative manner.
Okay, okay. Um, well, I teach English just using the communicative method, which is not really innovative, but something that is very practical today. Also, I like this approach, which is called flipped classroom. This is when children or students get some tasks, for example, to read the vocabulary, to do some exercises, to think about answers to some questions, or to read some grammar rules at home. As a result, at the lesson, they are more prepared to speak, yeah, on these topics, and it makes the learning process faster. So I like this. Sometimes I use ChatGPT in my work, for example, to generate some questions or to generate some exercises, but I think I can should do more of it, need more practice regarding it. And what else? I like using different interactive resources such as Wordwall, Bamboozle, and many others because they help making some things like grammar more interactive and more fun. And in general, I use a variety of online resources like from the BBC, from the Voice of America, from the New York Times, and my students really like it.
Okay, thank you so much. So among all the topics of English grammar, most of the students they considered learning preposition is much difficult, probably due to too many prepositions, and each preposition has its own rule to be learned, to be mastered. Usually, what kind of method or technique do you use to teach this typical or difficult topic to your students?
Yeah, prepositions are also difficult for Ukrainian students because they differ in Ukrainian and in English. So what I could recommend? First, this is learning some prepositions together with some nouns or verbs. For example, like to be interested in, to be good at, to depend on, and so on. So to learn these phrases, and then again, it's very important to practice them in speaking. That is why I often ask my students to try to create a sentence that will be related to them, to their personal life, with this new phrase. Yeah, like I'm good at driving, or I'm interested in reading, and so on. So this is one recommendation. And as for these prepositions of time and place, like at on in, which also can be quite challenging, maybe I would recommend to to divide and to analyze which prepositions are the same in your language and in English, if there are some. For example, if you speak about our language, like in the morning, in the evening, we use also in. And on the other hand, to analyze the prepositions which are different from the native language and like pay extra attention to learning them. That's probably my recommendation. But
Thank you.
I agree that it's difficult.
What kind of schools are popular in Ukraine? Public funded schools or private funded schools?
Yeah, I think most of the children go to public funded schools. We have, I live in Kiev, which is a capital, so there are plenty of schools in every district. They are usually quite big. I mean, I don't know, I think several hundred people, children might study there. But also private education is on the rise in Ukraine. And there is a variety of schools as well, from some international ones, which are like accredited internationally, to some really small ones and big ones as well that have all the facilities like swimming pools and sports and so on. But of course, private schools are quite expensive. Not everyone can afford them, but maybe if, for instance, if these are children of some diplomacy workers or business people from other countries who need English speaking education, of course, they will go to the private school. And just children of wealthy parents, like in every country, I think, yeah, they can get more than the
Yes, yes.
others.
Hello.
Скажи
Hello.
привет. She's shy.
Yeah, before the war, after the war. So, can you please give us a few details regarding the war situation in Ukraine?
Yeah, okay. Well, Now all of us understand that before the war, Ukraine was a great country to live in because people could work, could do business, could travel freely, and so on. Of course, Ukraine used to have and has now problems like corruption, some tax problems, and so on. But nevertheless, of course, now situation is quite bad for our country because we lost some of our territories. Actually, not a big part, but still it's a significant part. Many people have immigrated to other countries, to Europe, to the US, to Canada, wherever. And these are mostly, for example, mothers with children. And it means that now these people, they are adapting to their life there, and they may assimilate with the local culture, and they may not return to Ukraine. Many people died to the war. I mean, military people and civil people as well. And many men, like my husband, who could work and earn money and pay taxes, is now at war. So I think that economy is also suffering greatly. Yes, but in big cities like Kiev, you will not notice that there is war because everything is working. There are plenty of restaurants, people are walking, there are many children, everything is working. Yeah, you can buy whatever you want in case if you have money for that. Just when we have these attacks, which is usually at night, this is quite annoying because, well, you can hear all these sounds, and some people hide in the bathroom, in the corridor, some people don't hide. It depends on the person. In some regions, like the west of Ukraine, which is far from this military line, it is, I think, really quiet, and you don't feel the war. But in the cities that are near to the border with Russia, they and military people and civilians may die because of the bombs. And we are not feeling, unfortunately, many of the people are not feeling optimistic now because we don't know when it is going to end. We don't know how it is going to end. I don't know when I will be able to see my husband and when he's going to come back to Kiev. So, well, the situation, I cannot say that the situation is very good now, but still, people continue to live. Yes, they give birth to new children, and life is going on.
So because of the war, children education has greatly been affected. So students, maybe children are limiting themselves to their homes. So not many schools, I feel that not many schools are working because of the war-like situation. So what about these children? Are these children are able to learn just like the I mean, in your region it's okay, but what about other regions in your country? Are they able to go to school?
Yeah, yes, I was. Yes, children are able to go to school in the cities like Kharkov, which is close to the this zero line, as we call it. Children can study online. So yes, children have access to education. They either go to schools physically, like in Kiev and in many other places, or they may choose to study online.
Yes. Thank you so much for your time and your patience. I know that your daughter is there and you have to look after your daughter. You have a great time talking with us. Could you please give a message to my students?
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank your students. I really like them. They are very polite, and I would like to see more of them because and talk more with them to know what their hobbies are, what their families are, and in general, what their daily life is. But my message probably will be that education is the key to everything and to your success in life. For example, all that I gained in my life, I mean, my business, yes, my experience and everything, this is all due to education. So now you have this great time to learn, and this is your kind of a full-time job. And don't forget that English is the language of the international communication, and whichever job you are going to have in the future, English will help you with that. So that's my message. And of course, to be healthy, happy, friendly children. Okay, yes. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Thank you for organizing this, for your time and dedication. It was a very interesting experience for me.